Welcome and thank you for tuning in to this video. I am continuing my discussion about the standards of assistive technology as part of lecture 6 of the rehabilitation engineering class that I am teaching. Previously, we talked about the rationale about coming up with standards for assistive technology and how things started with ISO, International Standard Organization. In this video, I will be talking about how the United States got involved into the efforts of creating voluntary assistive technology standards for wheelchairs. Health Industry Manufacturer Association, HIMA, served as the technical assistant group, TAG, for the American National Standard Institute's ANSI in terms of representing the U.S. wheelchair manufacturer within the newly formed ISO TC 173 SC1, which is the Technical Committee 173 the Subcommittee 1, which was tasked with coming up with the standards or voluntary standards for wheelchairs. What I hope from explaining this to you and presenting it is I want you to know all the legal or the federal and governmental agency and non-governmental agencies that actually are involved in this effort. So the Health Industry Manufacturer Association and the American National Standard Institute, these are two important entities that played a big role in getting the U.S. involved with the standards for with coming up with voluntary standards for wheelchairs. HIMA, HIMA, served as the technical assistance group tag for the ANSI to represent American manufacturer within the framework or the structure of TC 173-SC1. At the beginning, there was an engineer, Keith Broadway. He was the head of engineering at Everest and Jennings Incorporation, and he attended the meetings of the Technical Committee 173 and the Subcommittee 1. In all the meetings, he was representing HIMA, aka the American manufacturers. He found that HIMA was unable to provide the necessary ongoing resources, so he asked to set up a forum within the Rehabilitation Engineering and Assistive Technology Society of North America for developing the industry standards or performance standards for wheelchairs, so that the U.S. wheelchair manufacturer could officially participate in the ISO standards activities that actually began in 1973. This is the history about how things started, and actually he was successful, and the Rehabilitation Engineering and Assistive Technology of North America became designated by ANSI, which is the American Standard Institute, as the U.S. standard development body for disability products, and also the official U.S. designee TAG to participate in related ISO activities. So that was how the U.S. started its involvement with ISO regarding assistive technology and wheelchair standards. So since 1980s, there were many positive activities that took place. For example, I want to learn the history and also learn the names of the agencies, because all of them, they're very helpful and active in funding and research and supporting the effort of coming up with the standards and implementing them. With the direct financial support of the Veteran Health Administration, VHA, and the Paralyzed Veterans of America, PVA, and with the direct support via industry and federal funding, mainly from the National Institute on Disability and Rehabilitation Research of the Department of Education, there are now 30 Rehabilitation Engineering Assistive Technology North America voluntary standards for wheelchairs and wheelchair seating. This series covers a wide range of design, performance requirements, test methods, and information disclosure requirements for wheelchair and wheelchair seating. This is very important, and anyone who wants to get involved in product design development need to know the 30 voluntary standards. And I will talk more about why voluntary is very important and not mandatory standards like what we have, let's say, in the automobile industry. There are a lot of views and discussions. People think that voluntary standards are much more effective and better to develop and disseminate. The US standards to a large extent have been harmonized as well because of the effort of RESNA, which is the Rehabilitation Engineering Assistive Technology of North America, they were harmonized with Canadian standards and with the ISO standards, so that the barrier to import and export such assistive technology products and wheelchairs and wheelchair seatings they were minimized. That was beneficial for the consumers and the manufacturers alike. We need to make sure that we understand that wheelchairs are considered medical devices in Europe, Japan, and the United States. Because of that, because it is a medical device, in Europe, for example, this subjected wheelchairs to a lot of regulations and regulatory checkpoints. In the EU, laws require compliance to requirements that governs all medical devices, including CE marking, and that is a mandatory conformity marking for regulating the goods sold within the European Union. So because it's a medical device, it's the wheelchairs and wheelchair seatings became subject to a lot of regulations, and some of them are because it's voluntary. We have voluntary standards. Each country selected which kind of standards they want to impose on the products sold in their jurisdictions, and this created a lot of issues with time. However, in the United States, the FDA has selectively recognized ANSI RESNA and or the ISO standard as a proof of safety compliance for 510K and the 510K approvals of the medical devices on wheelchairs products. So it was beneficial to have the standards, but it was on the countries to select which kind of standards they want to apply for their approval of using medical devices in their countries. And more recently, the federal government Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services decided to selectively reference test methods from the standards that were established to classify wheelchairs and wheelchair seating products into categories for which funding codes are being assigned, which is a good sign in such a way that when you have a product that can be, the cost of it can be reimbursed through insurance, that was a very big advantage, and also help, for manufacturer and patients as well, so that you can have and whatever seating technology available, or the best one and with the highest standard that you can use. All in all, it was good to have the standards. However, because they're voluntary, countries took on their own behalf what kind of standards they want to apply, which is fine, because a lot of countries are taking this seriously, and they are imposing the standards in order to be able to allow medical devices, such wheelchairs, which are medical devices, to be distributed and used in each of those countries. I hope that this gives you a good summary about how the United States got involved into developing the standards, and what is the situation at this moment, and what are the agencies that are involved in standards and coming up with standards and imposing these standards on the products, so that if you want to learn more, you know where to go. And keep in mind, there's a lot of research opportunities and funding for developing standards. It's not just basic research. There are a lot of opportunity for you to get involved in a graduate program where you can focus on developing standards and comparing standards between countries. And this is really a big and new area of research, as I will mention more in the following videos. If you reach this point, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and I will do my very best to answer them. Thank you so much. Until the next time. Bye.